to the final phase of this particular presentation, phase 7, which is the from the theory of relativity to the realm of pure thought essay, a New Age adventure by yours truly. Introduction. The American Heritage Dictionary defines a fool as one who is deficient in judgment, sense, or understanding. I wrote this essay back in January of 1998. I find this as a very interesting revelation. In the book of Matthew, chapter 18, verses 1 through 5, it has a similar definition of the kingdom of God. During the earlier part of this century, Werner Heisenberg also discovered it in nature. It was given the name the uncertainty principle. In so many words, the uncertainty principle describes an object spinning around another object, that is to say, the electron around the proton at near light speed. As tiny as the atom is, and because of the velocity of the electron, you can either know its momentum or its location, but not both at the same time. In other words, their conclusion of this discovery is that we can't know everything. In this essay, I will attempt to describe this concept from a slightly different angle. Using my knowledge from many more sources than what I've listed in the references at the end, I've created a unique approach in defining what life's all about. I would suggest that before you begin, that you read and ponder the passage in the Holy Bible I've mentioned earlier. My reason for this suggestion is somewhat of a warning. The contents of this essay may annihilate the concept of the universe that you presently know. Be ready for a psychological roller coaster ride, for the legacy of the 20th century is truly the merging of science and religion. Some of the passages recorded in this essay may not be fully understood by those who are unacquainted with the scriptures. Further study, therefore, is encouraged. So if you're not afraid of knowing you're a fool, or if you are ready for further light and knowledge, read on. I would like to add also that if you are not particularly well versed in, or if you do not know that much of physics, you will also have a hard time grasping the concepts of this particular essay. Not much physics need to be known to understand this phase, because I tried to put it in a very simple format. Physical or spiritual, we are all fools, and we are all magicians. If, however, you know that you are a fool, and I do not, then you are better off than I. For to possess this knowledge is to possess the knowledge of God. Because the foolishness of God is wiser than men, and the weakness of God is stronger than men. 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 25. And I would like to further explain that, to ask you the question, what is humility? And as far as I'm concerned, humility and humiliation has the same root. So, as far as I'm concerned, in order to be humble, one must be willing to allow himself to be humiliated as Christ also was. For only fools take risks, and that includes all of us. We do it every day. Those who are afraid to take risks are afraid to learn. They are afraid of God because their lives are lived in fear. Likewise, we are all magicians, for whatsoever we spend most of our time thinking about inevitably materializes. I'd like to clarify this concept in greater detail with a description and explanation of the similarity between thought and light.
Einstein described the speed of light to the beam from a flashlight. If we switched it on, that beam would make contact with your bedroom wall at the very instant the flashlight is switched on. He explained that if the speed of light went any faster than it did, then we could logically conclude that that beam in our thought experiment would make contact with the wall before we switched it on. So logically as well as mathematically, the dynamic speed of light knows no time. Granted, the light that comes to us from the nearest star takes time. But, says he, if we were to approach the speed of light, time would slow down, which would logically mean that time stops at that speed. To further explain this phenomenon, the speed of light is a constant. There is no increase or decrease in its speed from its point of origin to its point of arrival or destination. Acceleration does not exist at light speed. It may seem like it's going 80 miles per hour faster when you're on the freeway, but it's not. It is fixed. Time in the equation for speed, therefore, is zero. Speed equals space over time. Or velocity v equals distance d over time t. So v equals d over t equals d over 0 equals infinity, equation 1a. And d equals v times t equals v times 0 equals 0, equation 1b. According to the results above, we can logically conclude that when applied to the mind, the speed of thought is the effects of the speed of light. In other words, equation 1a, which is our equation for infinity, described in the real world, is our true selves. For although we are no longer little children of ages 2 or 3, we are, nevertheless, the same person, and we innately know this. This is infinity. Though our bodies have grown older, we still identify ourselves as that very same individual. So our true selves is pure energy, or to put it in another way, pure perception. Equation 1b, described in the real world, which is our equation that distance is 0, is our knowledge and the extent or depth thereof. For example, if we and those we know are spiritually minded, no matter how far away we are from them, we will always feel in touch with them. Therefore, the degree of mental security or peace of mind that we enjoy in this physical life is merely to the extent that we are spiritually minded. In another example, if you and your family have a healthy spiritual relationship and you were called away on a hostile military assignment, well, I think you can clearly see what I am saying. With this new concept of time, we can accurately conclude that true time is simultaneous, not linear. Linear time began with Greek logic. It is time focused in the physical, whereas simultaneous time is spiritual, or true time. It is God's time. It is spontaneous transfer. God is pure energy. Earlier in this century, Einstein made a very interesting statement. He essentially said the most incomprehensible thing about the universe is that it is comprehensible. As we come to the close of this century, we can more fully enjoy the validity and truth of this statement. It is no longer shocking to some of us. At that time, many people saw God through the eyes of Sir Isaac Newton, who seemingly confirmed that the universe was mechanical and that he was somehow out there somewhere controlling it. The only history book at that time was the Holy Bible. So much of science developed out of its concepts. Albert Einstein said, "Without science, religion is blind. Without religion, science is lame." With the great wealth of knowledge available today, there are still many